Hey, welcome back to the Tool Shed. This one is an oldie but a goodie. I did a separate video for it back in the days when Ariella and I were Soul Center, but I wanted to do it again because I use this one, I don't know, daily, but certainly weekly. Oh, I got props for this one, the big props. So this is a jar. This is rocks in the jar. Now, if you Google it, I'm not going to do the video because I'm just not that tech savvy, but you can Google it. It comes from at least legend has it, a professor who has these rocks, sand, and water in front of a classroom and this jar like this one. And he says, how do I get all of this in here? Well, I've already given away the punchline because if you try and do it by putting the sand or the water in first, there's no room for the rocks in the jar. And he says exactly. So by the time the end of the video comes along, he puts the rocks in the jar, and then he puts the sand, or pebbles, sand, water. What's the point? The point is, if you don't make time for rocks in your jar, then you're never going to get them in there. If you wait for someday, what was it saying? The road of someday leads to the town of nowhere. It never happens. So, for instance, I've taken rocks, literally, and I've written some core values, things that I need in my life that I've got to make time for. These are my rocks, my core values, my absolutes, my whatever you want to call them. These are non-negotiables. These must go into my jar first. So, every day, 5 a.m., I get up, rain or shine, and I use that time as my journaling time, my meditation time, my writing time. That is a rock. To the point where I love doing yoga. Ariella goes to do yoga at 6 a.m. I refuse to go as much as I want to go and it annoys her, but that's not a rock. This is my rock. And so I put that in my jar. I put in there, each one of my kids is in there. The other thing is, of course, your kids are important, but during the day, sometimes I'll just take it out. And I wrote on here something like Aviv, I wrote on here Aviv, my youngest, my baby, my legacy, my buddy, my love. And so I have one of these for each of my kids. I have one of these for each of my wives. Just kidding. I have one of these for Ariella. And again, same thing. This one's my daughter Maya, my joy, my girl. Ariella's down there somewhere. It's not a statement of priority. Maybe it is. She's anchors my jar. But anyways, it helps me remember. I like tools. I like literally something I can hold in my hand and just sort of reflect on during the day. I look over at them and, sorry, I know it's loud, and just really makes me it's a mindfulness moment. The other thing that it does is sometimes I'll take them out and I'll put them all over my desk, and it just makes me reprioritize. Some things aren't rocks, and it's been said that if you have clothes in your closet and you haven't worn them for a year, they're not really yours. At that point, you're just hoarding them. I think the same is true with rocks. So I'll go through once in a while and I'll do a rock audit, and I'll make sure that it should still be in the jar, because my jar is full. I mean, I showed it to you, but it's saturated. You can only get so many rocks in your jar. You can only get so many core things into your day or your week or your month or your year. So every once in a while, you got to sift through them. And I hope you don't throw out your kids or your wife. But, some people, not the kids, but do get divorced. But no, it's an opportunity to evaluate, hey, what's in there that shouldn't be and what's not in there that should be. This is just a powerful tactile tool for you to get clear about your core values. I'll end with this. When I'm coaching people, one of the things I'll do with them is I'll make them discern or delineate their core values. And they'll say, this is number one, but this is number one. And to which I always reply, you can't have two number ones. The moment you say you have two number ones, you're lying to yourself or to somebody. Everything in life gets rank ordered. That's the world we live in, a world of chronos, a world of linear time. So you can only do that one thing. You better know what your core values are and have them rank ordered and make sure that it's honest. Here's an example. Almost every mom I know, dads too, but especially moms, say their number one priority for their 16-year-old daughter, I have two of them, and two sons, is safety. And so they go get a license, to which I'll say, well, then that isn't your number one priority. Because if your number one value is safety for your daughter, don't let her drive. Don't let her drive for the safety of others as well. Certainly my daughters. Because safety is not number one. And it's challenging to somebody when I start saying that's not a rock in your jar. I mean, it's a rock. It's just not the rock. Let's really figure out all the rocks in your jar. And so we start going through the process of, well, I do want her to have freedom and responsibility and choice. And so you start to see it all can't be number one. So it doesn't mean safety isn't number one or isn't up there, but it's not number one. If it was number one, she wouldn't get a car, or you'd buy her a tank, or, you would whatever. So the bottom line, we got to get clear about our values. That's what this is all about. Get some rocks. I collect them when I go hiking. That's a whole other tool that I'll share with you sometime. But find rocks, write on them, do this. This is not one that just is great in your head. This is one meant to be purchased. Go out and purchase the jar online, or you can get it online and go out and get the rocks and just get a a permanent marker, and go through the process of writing out your values and putting those rocks in your jar.